besides the result, was there anything that surprised or disappointed you in this game? Did Seattle do anything that you didn't expect, or was it just a matter of one team putting away the one chance that they got?
Yeah, no, I mean, the disappointing thing for me was just the start of the game. I think, like I said, that was the difference in the game. Was the start. We just weren't sharp enough. We didn't have enough urgency for whatever reason. And then from there, because they are such a good defensive team, it's hard to then break them down and get that goal to get back in the game, especially on the road. So that would be the thing I would say was disappointing, was just the start of the game. I think the guys would agree with me there. But on the flip side of that, I was really proud of after that poor start, how we responded and try to get ourselves back into the game. And Barra, obviously Hafa with a great penalty save, and then Barra super close offsides call. We could have come away with a point.
And you're starting to settle in. You have settled in, it looks like, back there on the defense with Real Salt Lake. What do you see with this team that you can find some optimism, and where they need to improve, especially next week, but moving into next season?
Settling in great. Sometimes it's hard to go from a back five to a back four. In my mind, play from wing back to a full back. So that's been a bit of a change, kind of doing that. But really starting to settle in and get comfortable back there with the guys. They've made it pretty easy for me. And then as far as just improvements, I think because it's a young team, it's just experience. It's just playing together. It's just getting games together, getting minutes together. I think that's a huge thing, and we're obviously going through that right now. We obviously, I haven't been here for a super long time, but this team's gone through a lot of adversity this year, which is looked as a negative thing by a lot of people. But I think also when you go through adversity as a group, you learn a lot about each other, and sometimes you can come out even stronger. So I think that's a really important thing that this group is going through right now. And the fact that we still have a great opportunity and chance to make playoffs is very exciting. And then from a positive standpoint is one thing that really surprised me when I got here about this team, or when I got here, is just on the ball, this team has great ideas, really good technical players. Moves the ball really well, and I think if we can just make sure that we're consistent with that every game, that we'll be in a great position, not only this year but going on through next year.
Thank you. Good luck next week.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Last press this time.
Yeah, it's pretty nostalgic. It's the second time I've played here since I've been back. Obviously it's always good to be home and see family, and we were staying like 4 blocks from my high school, so went up to a local restaurant that I always went last night. So it was good to be back. Obviously, not the result we wanted, but it was great to be back and see family and friends.
Well, obviously, you know how tough it is to play there.
Yeah.
What did you make of RSL's approach against the Sounders side that's been in good form lately?
Yeah, we had a tough start. I think that was the big kind of deciding point in the game. Was the start of the game it wasn't a great start for us. But I thought once we figured it out, we started to give them a few problems, and I think for the most part for the rest of the game, had pretty good control. Obviously with a team like that they have quality all over the field, so they're going to get their chances, and they also work really well defensively. So it's a difficult team to play against, but I'm proud of the guys for the work we put in, and at the end of the day, we still there's still a playoff picture in the future, hopefully. So we just got to look forward to the next one.
I noticed in the second half when you were on the side with the Seattle bench, it looked like you were getting a little bit of verbals from maybe some guys you used to play with.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't tripping at them. I was tripping at the refs, but they might have been giving me a little bit. I don't know.
How would you rate your own performance tonight, especially on the wide areas against a team that, like I said, they like to overload the flanks?
Yeah. I mean, they do overload, so it makes it pretty difficult sometimes to defend. Like I said, they're pretty honest defensively. I think in the game I wish, or not wish, but I would have liked to have been a little bit more, involved, especially on the attacking side of it. But it is what it is. Every game's different, and today that didn't happen. So, like I said, we look forward to the next one, and we know exactly what we need to do. So,
well, one of the things that we've seen a lot that's been glaringly obvious for us from the outside is the leadership that you bring, and how important that is with a young group.
Mm-hmm.
In a game where win and you're in, RSL started, as you said, fairly tentative, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but they started tentatively, not the way they'd want. What can you do, or what do you bring next week with? I'll tell you that LA just scored to go up on Dallas. What do you bring next week in St. Louis, again with a win and you're in, to help your younger teammates get their minds right and to keep it right going into that pressure cooker against? I mean, it can be a porous back line, but they've got a top drawer keeper back there.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is not blowing it out of proportion. I think it's staying present. It's focusing on each play, each second of the game, if we can dial our focus down to to that minute of a measurement, if you want to call it that. But I think just not blowing it out of proportion. At the end of the day, it's a game, and for most parts of games, I think we've been doing well. I think it's just about putting it all together and putting together a 90-minute performance where that's consistent. And like here, it's always going to be tough to come here and play. To St. Louis, it's always tough to go on the road and play anywhere, to be honest. So we got to be extra dialed in, but I think it's good for us knowing that we're going there and we need to win. I think it's it's very simple. There's no maybe this could happen, maybe this could happen. No, we just need to go there and we need to win. That's at the end of the day. I think sometimes when you keep things simple and simplify it, it makes it a little bit easier and makes the objective a little bit more clear.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Let's stay in the room here with Nico.
DeAndre, obviously you are playing for RSL. You've made this career beyond Seattle, but when you see an unveiling of a Leagues Cup like today, next to a CONCACAF Champions League, banner, what goes through your mind when it comes to this club and what they've been able to accomplish?
Yeah, really proud of this club. Obviously it started when I was still in high school, I believe. So, to see how far this club has come and see how much success they've had is incredible. It's a club that I always follow. It's my hometown club, so obviously playing against them is pretty special. Playing with them was special. Obviously really proud. I know a lot of the coaches that are still here, and a lot of the players. It's pretty cool to see. And obviously being the first homegrown at this club, seeing how many homegrowns now that they've pushed through and that are doing huge things with this team. Is awesome. So obviously huge kudos to the club and just credit to all the players and the fans and the city for building probably what is one of the best teams in MLS.
And staying on that note, this will be my last one. The Sounders are creating this eternal circle of Sounder legends. And there's 3 nominees. One of those is Sigi Schmid. I just wanted to know, what do you remember from Sigi, and what part of your success was he?
Yeah, well, Sigi obviously he was my first professional coach. So I think that says a lot. He showed a lot of trust in me. There was probably no need to play a 19-year-old kid that was just kind of just up and down everywhere, like running around crazy. But he put a lot of trust in me and. Gave me a lot of confidence, and like I said, he was my first coach. Put his arm around me a lot, and made sure that I stayed humble even through all the success. So Sigi was probably one of the most influential coaches I've had in my life. So obviously rest in peace to him, and he's a not only a great coach but a outstanding guy as well.
Thank you.